whack. And one of the messages I'm getting is we have to bring spending under control. Now, since March, we've reduced the deficit by $73 billion just in the last 5 months. We've made a tremendous amount of progress. I also support the line item veto, as does the Farm Bureau. And last week we passed earmark reform. You know, everyone's earmark is a good earmark. You know, I got $180,000 for the Whitendorf Ag Center here for Joliet Junior College. Now, some people, if it was the New York Times, would say that's pork barrel, that's an earmark, that's bad. But it's really important to the ag program at Joliet Junior College, and I'm very proud of that earmark. Now, we did pass earmark reform, and of course our rule is that earmark reform just requires disclosure. I'm pretty proud of what I brought home to my district, and I'm more than happy to put my name next to it.
Can I just respond to that real quick? It is absolutely important to reduce the budget deficit. Nobody's disagreeing with that. Deficit has gone through the roof.
Speak on the microphone, please. John?
The deficit has gone through the roof. We're bankrupting our children's future, and it has to stop. The problem is a problem of misplaced priorities when it comes to balancing the budget. Now, if you want to give tax breaks to the wealthiest people in the country, that's fine. But then you also have to realize that it's going to be more difficult to reduce the budget. Now, people will say Democrats support raising taxes for everybody. That simply isn't true. What we support is a system that is financially viable. We are lacking that. We have to find areas where we can reduce the spending. I don't think it's in agriculture. I'm surprised that anybody from a district like this would. But there are certainly areas that we can find ways to cut waste and cut spending. Cut waste, for example. We've all heard about the billions of dollars lost in Iraq. We've all heard about the billions of dollars lost in the aftermath of Katrina. We've got to have some oversight. It's been lacking.
Henry?
Mary, I asked a question on the bills, Mr. Weller. And the specific bill that I was talking about is the estate tax relief. And I believe that was tied in.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The estate tax bill,
Yes.
is that tied in with something with the minimum wage? Why can't you just vote on one bill? You know, vote on minimum wage, vote on minimum wage, and then vote on the estate tax relief.
Sure.
Vote on that.
Sure. Well, you know, at the end of session,
Go ahead, speak in the microphone.
at the end of session, legislation does get bundled up just because we're limited on time.
Congressman, can we have a follow-up?
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Wait, he's answering that question.
Excuse me, sir.
Certainly.
I support an increase in minimum wage. I'm co-sponsoring the Sherry Bullard bill. I also support death tax reform. Legislation that we passed is pretty common sense reform. Talk to any farmer, landowner in Will County. You know, the exemptions that we provided for in the Estate Tax Relief Act of $5 million for a single and $10 million for a married couple, frankly, in Will County are pretty meaningful. You have farmers that are looking at prices anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 an acre. Grandpa passes away, that places that land in jeopardy because of death tax. We want to keep the family farm in the family. So I support that. And I also support the extenders. You know, I authored the Brownfields tax credit, which is an environmental remediation tax credit. Joliet, Lockport, Kankakee, LaSalle, Peru, many communities in this area are older industrial communities. We have older industrial sites that need environmental cleanup. You want to encourage private developer to purchase those, clean that up, and recycle it. And of course, the cost of doing that can be prohibitive. So I worked actually with Mayor Daley, and we were successful in getting my legislation signed into law. Of course, that sunsets. Most provisions in the tax code sunset and have to be reauthorized. And of course, as part of that package, minimum wage increase, helping keep the family farm in the family, as well as the Brownfields tax credit, work opportunity tax credit, the research and development tax credit, very, very important to Illinois manufacturers. We're all in the same piece of legislation. It's the end of the session. We want to get the job done. Legislation passed overwhelmingly with bipartisan support in the House. No reason the Senate shouldn't be able to pass that as well.
Just a couple more questions. There's one back there. All right? Yeah.
Congressman, I'm Tom Brislin. I'm a tax accountant for Beecher, and I'm sorry to have interrupted you. My question is on the estate tax, which is in fact a transfer tax. It is not a death tax. Do you know how many family farms are truly affected by the estate tax in the last couple of years? The latest IRS figures, less than 100.
Okay.
Less than 100 farms in the United States,
Okay.
out of all the farms that we have. Who are the largest two beneficiaries of your proposed estate tax repeal?
In Will County? I'm
No,
not
in the
sure.
United States, Congressman. The Walton family and the Mars Candy family. Those are the people who are going to benefit. Huge estates. Do you feel that there should be any estate tax on those huge and large estates?
Under the legislation that I supported, they would continue to support a, continue
It
to
was
pay
going to
that
be
tax.
reduced to the capital gains rate. not to
20, no,
50%,
under our legislation, 25%.
which in fact is a capital gains rate for rental property after depreciation. But that's, do you feel that that's really just, that those huge estates should escape estate taxation? It's a transfer tax, it's not a death tax.
We're not going to debate some guy.
All right. Thank you, Congressman.
You know, let me just finish, since you wouldn't let me answer the question. Again, the goal is, let's keep the family farm in the family. You ask any of the farmers in this county, the value of land, and what 25 or 50 or 100 acres are worth. And under the current estate tax, those farms are in jeopardy because of the death tax. And under our compromise, $5 million for a single person, $10 million for a married couple. Anybody above that pays 25% tax, which is the capital gains rate. That seems fair. A 55% rate. Think about that. 55% confiscatory rate is way, way much too high. Thank you very much.
We're going to take one more question. That lady right there?
I have a question for Mr. Pavich. Can you give us a little insight as to what you plan to do with biodiesel and some of the fuels, EPA, those types of things?
Absolutely. I mean, I think everybody in this room is in complete agreement that we need basically I think we're all in agreement that we need in this country basically what amounts to a Manhattan Project for energy independence. And that includes massive investment in alternative sources of energy, ethanol, biodiesel, wind, solar. We need to find a way to wean ourselves off of foreign sources of oil. But the problem is that we need new direction in this country, and that new direction has to come from a new source. We can't trust the people that are currently in office, basically the fox guarding the hen house, who are indebted to the big oil industries like ExxonMobil, Chevron, to really follow through on this much-needed reform. It's an issue that's becoming a national security issue, already has become a national security issue, and action is long overdue. So I look forward to trying to take the lead and working on
Now,
investing.
we said we was only having 2 questions. We already had about 8, so.
But can he at least discuss his death tax feeling? I mean, I think we should have heard both sides. I mean,
No, I think, absolutely, and I believe that the exemptions that exist now, $5 million for single, $10 million for married couple, are appropriate exemptions. That covers just about every family farm. And I believe that when the time comes, decades down the road, if that needs to be lifted, then we should address the issue. But for now, what it does is it accomplishes not only protection for family farmers, small farmers, but it also ensures that the likes of Paris Hilton is not going to get an enormous tax break for money that could be better spent bringing down the national debt. And I think that it's a sound position, and I don't see any reason to at this point, lift it to $50 million, $100 million exemption.
Yeah, we're going to go on to the County Board District 2.